I'm Brandon Teller, one of the founders of ColdStart and Binder. And ColdStart is actually a company that came from Binder, so I want to give a lot of credit to this presentation to Mary and the great team over at Binder, because really this technology, before I go into it, was accidental. So I don't know how many people come up here and say, hey, there's an accidental company, but I'm going to kind of jump into the story of that and then how ColdStart works and maybe bring some insight into how sometimes companies don't necessarily pivot, but how some new companies can form from it. So the problem for most founders that I've found through 13 plus years of building startups is I built it, but they never came. And you spend all this money building a mobile app, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars. I've seen millions of dollars of people spending and building mobile apps that they can't scale, they can't get a product to. Sometimes even really great ideas that I've seen just die when it came to going to market. I've been a victim of this myself. I wish I could say that I'm immune to it. Not all of them were successful like Binder. Not all of them were successful like other startups that I've been involved with now. Some of the tricks that we used with Binder kind of turned into a new company. So what does ColdStart do? Well, ColdStart helps people find you in creative ways that aren't necessarily spending like Google ad spend or things like that, that most companies will try to do to get to market first. ColdStart builds technology specifically for targeting that creates longer lasting impact for organic growth. All of the success that Binder's had so far. And guess what? Hint to this. This is what I call the BS slide. We planned this out really extensively. We did extensive customer discovery. We went through all of this process. We did all of these things that you're supposed to do with a startup. And we just knew. And then we talked to all these executives at HubSpot, at Google, and everything that you could really think of you would plan a really great AI-driven data startup that is a B2B SaaS model and something that investors would love and would be great. The truth is, that's not at all how this happened. Customers started to find us because we built Binder and they heard that we got over 100,000 users in under a year. They heard that most of them were organic. They were asking us why and how we did this. Last week, we had Google engineers giving us calls. The Google engineers that built Postgres databases. These are high-level guys, the original people behind Fitbit, the original executives of HubSpot called us. And they're trying to figure out how we got this growth, or just because they thought that we were interesting as founders. And that was interesting to us. And we realized, oh, okay, maybe this is worth something. And then Mary, back in March, went out to New York City. She actually had a founder, and this is when we decided to do ColdStart. She had a founder fly from New York City, or not New York City, from San Francisco to New York City. I spent thousands of dollars just to meet her. Seed funded company, $2 million. And after flying to New York City, all he couldn't do, he had a product built, was get organic growth. The same problem is that he was spending tens of thousands of dollars going to college campuses, handing out free gift cards, just getting people to sign up for his dating app. And it's the same story that the dozens of other founders have reached out to me for so many different mobile apps too. And the truth is, ColdStart started because I don't have time to work with everyone. I can't build this for everyone. There are other priorities and other things that are being worked on. So I had to come up with a creative way to do that. So here's how it works. ColdStart targets niche landing pages. It creates complex landing pages. So essentially, you can create one HTML page, and you can plug into ColdStart, and you can expand out to any vertical that you want with terms automatically. It uses AI tech, it uses site mapping, and it does all the hard work that you would typically spend or have a team out, and you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to do with an SEO agency or somebody else that would build it for you. This is what we did with Binder. We built this tech because as two people over the summer, we didn't really have time to do this. So we built this tech and we had the databases, and then we realized that it really worked. And then between all my experience of all my failed startups, I had all of this data from them as well. And because of all of this data, we're now industry agnostic, and we can build this out to any vertical that we need to. We've saved $1.2 million so far and it's still gaining authority. It's still growing. Based on this, we've taken down billion-dollar companies. That landing page that I just showed you is beating Meet Me. It's beating Match Group. It's beating every single one out there. We have one for bisexual dating, lesbian dating. We have it all scaled out, and we've built the tech in a way that other people can just take a piece of code and then submit it with virtually any website. Even somebody that's fairly non-technical can do that, log into a dashboard, and expand this out in a way that otherwise wasn't possible. And we're not just trying to create an organic growth strategy. The really interesting part for this was the parts that we're discovering now is our ad cost per click is 20 cents for United States users. We're completely crushing the competition now in it. We're beating funded companies and all I can do is off of reviews, but based on our reviews, other companies such as Lex that got funded $5.4 million in December, we are growing in reviews and users quicker than they are. And we were funded $100,000 and we just recently got our second $50,000. And we are taking them out with this technology and just finally starting to get real funding to be able to take this company to a larger vertical. And now we're licensing out the same technology to other companies that are maybe not competing with Binder. Going into the future, though, we are looking to make this company more than just growth. So one of the biggest expenses that we've learned with building this and building technology is actually retaining customers is really expensive. Believe it or not, sending out emails, text messages, and getting customer re-engagement is one of the hardest things to do when building any kind of tech company. These are the things that you don't think of until you get into hundreds of thousands of users. These are the things that you go to investors for to get re-engagement strategies. These are the things that you end up actually really needing VC money for. Once you hit that exponential growth, that's the stuff that you need. This is where we plan to take ColdStart from not just getting the customers for our users and getting our customers to great products, but also getting them re-engaged to those same products and building those same tools that we're paying so much money now for. One of the advantages, and I highly advise this to any company looking to build, is be technical. The biggest advantage we've ever had in the dating industry is that so many of the founders out there taking money right now are non-technical, and we've been able to beat them out in every way, shape, and form in the last year because of that. Thanks so much. And overall, I just really want to answer any questions about the technology. I had a question that I put there, but actually our attorney kind of answered that one for us. So I don't want to jump into if we should separate the companies or not. We have a nice agreement set up now for that. But if there's any questions on how the tech works, the company, and even general questions for scaling or growth, I'd love to answer them.
You're going from a model where it's direct to consumer to B2B.
Yes.
Have you, other than the interest that you've received from people who are trying to figure out how you're crushing them, have you found folks who are already ready to sign on the dot, or has anyone signed?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah. We've sold 5 contracts so far already. And we have a line of people wanting to sign up already. The problem being is that since with the company's restructuring, the service agreement we're finalizing with the attorney. So like they're actually waiting out the door for it at the moment.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. And to follow up on that, have you had any interaction with Jay Jayamon at the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship at Harrisburg University?
I have, but not since this has started.
Okay, you should definitely talk to him because he's been a part of 3 startups that have raised huge amounts of venture capital, 2 of which exited well. And his niche is B2B businesses.
Okay.
So
interesting. Yeah. So am I understanding correctly that like the primary use case for populating, various landing pages, it would be something more similar to Binder, where like the query you want to go after is related to like localized network effects, right? So like I want to Google, Philadelphia area, this kind of business. And that's sort of what your core tech here would do a really good job of, like building landing pages that are replicable based on like geographies, or is it Is that
Well, yeah, yes and no. So it is obviously geography based. We already have that, but we also have like every tax code you can think of. We have every, so like if you have questions around pretty much anything that could be scalable to your product, so the product part of this is really important. One of the caveats I should have mentioned in the presentation is that we do look at the statistics because this tech doesn't work unless you have a 10-minute session time on your product. So we look for great products that we can scale. We try not to put out junk. If we put out junk, that's not going to work. The reason why this works is because people are retaining really well on a great product. So we look for products that are specifically like seed funded, maybe going into Series A, right in that Goldilocks period. And then might have trouble getting organic growth.
So another question based on that, if you're looking at companies as customers that are in that Goldilocks between seed and Series A,
Yeah.
would you consider having your service contracts or service agreements, however they're termed, be something that includes equity in those potentially high growth ventures that, maybe there's some upfront revenue for setting things up, and then the long-term game is you play the VC game?
We have considered that, yes. We have considered profit, different verticals to that. And then since this is, so like we start them off in like verticals that work for them. And as they grow, they can go into more verticals, and that also means more revenue. And there's been considerations with that with our attorney, and there's certain agreements for that. We haven't signed anyone on for that yet, though.
Can you talk about some of the companies that we've signed on and some of them that you're seeing results for already? I know maybe not specific names, but general, like showing that it's not just dating. It's
So like some of the companies, pet care industries, one of them, obviously dating, lots of dating. I mean, when you see, interestingly enough, like most of the leads that we get through this is from a Quora post of how do you get your first 1,000 organic users, completely disrupting everyone else's. And it just says that, and then they just reach out. Then we set them up. And since we have, it means like a onboarding system that works, it's quick. It doesn't take a lot of time to get them set up, and they can use the tech. As long as they're not in our LGBTQ vertical, we work with them. There's, I don't want to go into like too much detail because I don't want to expose any ideas. So there's like some new ones that are coming out, but one of them that we're in the talks with is a tequila company. So like to give you an idea of like the vastness of like the things that are a lot of different verticals, a lot of different avenues with it. I mean, it's not just location. It's just, and it all depends on what they're working towards. And we have the data sets to provide for them.
Awesome product. I am a non-technical founder, so please excuse this question. Where would your product fit within the landscape of Entreport, Go High Level, HubSpot? At what point would you come into play with someone who needed your help?
So like with HubSpot, for instance, HubSpot is, they're a sales funnel. So this product would work really well with their system because you could take HubSpot, you could create a landing page with it. You could create that funnel at the top. If you're a B2B platform, you could expand that vertical out with our technology, build those landing pages, and then you could collect those leads that are coming in so that a salesperson could follow up with them. So it would seamlessly integrate with something like HubSpot or Salesforce. Into any